Hello, neighbor. Happy Halloween. This week, we spend a spooky night alone with Cuba's first indie game. Clustertruck gets a Halloween update, and Hello Games Twitter gets raised from the dead. Will you play with Marcy or Trappy Bear in Witchkin? Either way, when you die and you're in hell, you can still watch episode 109 of the Indie Game Riot.
Indie Game Riot!
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and I am here finally with the full cast and crew, being just the three of us. That is Rev up there, and Tech right there. And this is episode 109, a.k.a. the Halloween 2016 edition of Indie Game Riot.
Ooh.
Yes,
If you couldn't tell from the intro.
I'm also mandating a rule that we all have to talk like vampires for this show, like really cheesy vampires.
Blah!
So, if you want to play the indie games, you must speak like the vampire.
Have you seen the movie What They Do in the Shadows?
Yes.
What We Do in the Shadows? Josh, have you seen it?
No.
It's one of the best movies ever made. You need to watch it.
I wouldn't say it's one of the best ever
Okay,
made.
not in terms of.
It is an absolutely fantastic movie.
It's one of those movies that you
Rev-
have to see.
Rev
Everybody
just
has
pulled
to
one
see
of those. Rev just pulled one of those. Like,
Actually,
actually, I wouldn't say it's the best movie ever made.
Yeah.
So this is.
No,
it's one of the movies.
It's not
it's
the
one of
best
the movies
movie
you
ever
have.
made.
No, it's not.
Fantastic.
It's great.
It is fantastic. And
So-
it's really weird on acid.
I believe it.
Episode 109, Halloween edition. We were just a heads up, unless he pops in at some point. We were supposed to interview Mark Greger, who we've interviewed before. He was one of the developers that worked on Solarix, if you remember that game.
Yep.
Yeah. He is now working with another company called Free Sphere Entertainment on a game called Tether. It's currently in green light. So even if he doesn't show up, do me a favor and go vote yes on it. It's a really beautiful looking horror game, sci-fi horror, and it has an interesting take. It's not that standard like.
Ooh, be scared by a monster and run away.
Run through the
find a bunch
space
of
station.
pages.
Yeah, it's there's some psychological stuff to it, as far as like the woman who's the main character, like dealing with her kids and like being a terrible person, that sort of stuff. I don't know a whole lot about it. I can't say a whole lot about it. I do voice act in it, which is why I'm asking you to do me a favor and do that because I'm involved. So
Yes.
if it's a popular game, maybe.
So wait
I'll
a
be
second.
famous.
Hold on. So basically, what you're saying is tonight's episode was really Josh did some voice acting in some games that just happens to be scary enough.
Exactly,
to include
actually,
the horror episode of the show. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Because our free fun game is also something I voiced in,
Yes.
but that is free, so therefore all you have to do is play it. But anyway, how's your spoopy week been?
Tech.
So Jesse works at Columbia now, and the store just opened. It opened yesterday.
And for those of you who aren't living in Maryland, it's some snotty.
It's a Portland company, Josh.
Whatever. It's some
only-
snobby
it's like-
clothing store that I've never heard of in my life.
Oh, let me tell you something. All right, the Columbia isn't even the snobbiest place there.
Oh,
They've got a Saks on Fifth Avenue.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. They've got an Armani.
Okay, I know that.
Like they have.
Sounds like King of Prussia Mall.
It is a luxury outlet. Let me tell you, it is so.
Man, that
luxury.
shit better
They
like make me jizz on their clothes as soon as I put it on.
Let me. It's nice. It literally opened yesterday. But it's really weird because I forever I've worked jobs where it's like yeah, you're gonna come in at 4 and you're gonna leave at 11 or midnight.
They require you to drink really fancy Starbucks coffees when you.
No, they don't. Actually, Columbia is really cool because they're really like outdoorsy and are like.
Oh, it's outdoorsy for fancy people.
Yeah, outdoorsy for.
Patricia, we're going camping. Get your Columbia clothes on.
It's more like hey,
pack the RV.
We're gonna go. It's more like, hey, we're gonna go skiing.
Oh. We're going to the Andes, Patricia.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, that's right. I work jobs now that have been like, yeah, you're gonna wake up at noon and then go into work in the afternoon and then finish up work in the middle of the night, right? And it's only been those jobs. And so now Jessie has this job, and it's like, she has her learner's permit still. She doesn't have her license yet, and so I've got to drive with her to work. And you know, she's just going at like 9:30 in the morning, and like, for someone who was going to work for almost 2 years at 5 p.m. every day for 2 years, waking up at 8 is like, I don't understand what hour it is. It's like
I'm actually right with you right now because my wife has been working. She starts at 7 every day for like the past, I don't know how long now. But I'm like, okay, it's just gonna take me a little bit to get used to this. And today even I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah, dude.
Every morning.
The first few days where she was on at like 10, it was great because waking up at like 9:30, the outlets are so close.
My wife's off tomorrow. My wife's off tomorrow, and I don't have to take anyone to school, and and the next day she's starting at 12, and I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus, sleep.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I get exactly where you're coming from. Did you watch anything scary? Did you do anything Halloween related?
No. You ate candy.
Absolutely fucking not.
Oh, well, I mean, we grew pumpkins, but that was a few weeks ago. So.
Did you carve any?
No, we gave them to my cousins to carve.
Oh, well, that's as close as you get there.
Yeah.
Rev,
we moved the lemon tree inside. I don't know.
Rev, did you happen to murder more people than usual?
More people than usual? No, I think I'm on
the scary
track.
Thing about it.
Right? Yeah. No, this week was I didn't get shot. That was good. I was in a shady part of Santa Ana. No, this week I feel weird because I'm on the tail end of several major projects that are all winding up and things are going smoothly. And
you're just waiting for the shoe to drop.
Yeah, and this week was also my week of work from home for most of it. And so, like, I'm at only like 60 or so hours right now, but I've been patching and then working for like 4 hours during the day as well. But I haven't really done much. There was a game that I downloaded. I haven't gotten to play it yet.
You almost pissed your pants just looking up our Peep Show game.
Oh my God, the Peep Show game! Holy cow! You have no idea. My roommate was out in the living room and like messaged me and was like, "Are you okay?" Because I screamed like a little girl. And I'm not kidding. Like this is not voice acting. This is literally. It was one of those like, "Oh my God!" type things.
He's gonna barge into your room. You okay?
Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
It was
the hand,
really,
the hand flaps
like all of a sudden
and everything.
Getting text messages like, "Hey, everything all right back there?" It's like, yes. So yeah, no, that's been about it. Halloween wise, I saw a picture of a pumpkin.
Oh, good.
Recently.
Rest in peace, Rev's mic.
Yeah.
Someone drop it in the chat.
Yeah, I got it. Hold on.
So you saw a pumpkin. So Rev saw a pumpkin. Tech grew them and then gave them away to be Halloweened.
Yeah, I think we're gonna hit.
I'm the only one in the spirit.
Well, no, I'm in the spirit of candy's gonna be available for sale soon.
That is true. Good point.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't work. I guess Hitbox changed so that mods can't.
You should be able to do it. I don't know if that's the right thing.
No. It's saying It's saying. oh, you have to be subscribed to use them, right? And they're like, oh yeah, subscribe. And I'm like, no, I work here.
How about you, Mr. I've already gone trick-or-treating 3 times?
I've only gone once, and
my version was funnier.
We got done like 45 minutes earlier. Like it's from 6 to 8. But you know, my kids, they're little. They have little legs. They can't walk that far. The important thing is that they had fun. They dressed up as Batman and Batgirl. And I've stolen a good amount of their candy already. So
well, it's
I'm
not
proud.
Like they're going to notice.
They got to pay off their costumes somehow. We might go again because I go trick or treating in a different town where my grandparents live, Hershey actually, and they give like full size candy bars there because everyone's freaking rich pretty much. And it's a nicer neighborhood, but around here, like where I live, they actually go trick-or-treating, I think, on Monday. So I think I can take them again, technically speaking, and they can get more use out of the costume, and there's more candy. Other than that, Halloween spirit, I've watched some scary movies. Did you guys ever watch The Babadook?
I've heard of it.
I know about it too.
Usually when you think scary movie, especially nowadays, you think, oh, some shitty, like, whatever. Oh, jump scare, oh, gore, whatever. So it's hard to come across legitimately good scary movies unless they're made by, like, James Wan, who does, like, Insidious and The Conjuring and all that. This was, like, an independent film, I think, done in England, I think. It's interesting because it's only... like, the main focus, the main plot point of the movie isn't necessarily the scary thing. It's about, like, a single mom dealing with her, like, her kid who's kind of, like, really frustrating to her, and her dealing with that whole, like, aspect of, like, I kind of hate my kid right now. So it's interesting that it takes that and it really, like, makes the characters deep for a horror movie, and then the horror kind of adds on top of that, you know what I mean? And it's legitimately creepy, too. So, some of it didn't really make sense to me, but I won't spoil anything for you. Go watch it. I would suggest it. It's on Netflix. The Babadook. Other than that, you know what? We could probably... I shouldn't say this.
Oh my God! Don't say it.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I don't want.
But you know what? You know what we need to do to clean this filth out of our minds. We need indie news injection.
That'd be a good one. Yeah.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an indie news injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
This week, starting out, indie news injection. No Man's Sky was a mistake.
Oh boy.
Is what was tweeted by Hello Games Twitter today,
I
October
cannot
28th at 5:48 a.m.
believe that this is back in the news.
Literally.
Oh boy.
Okay, so I'll tell you all the details, and then I'll give you my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
By the way, I've recently found, I'm not going into details, but I've recently found out Tech is a conspiracy head.
Of course. So, Forbes broke the news. The tweet from Hello Games No Man's Sky was posted, and everybody, you know, No Man's Sky has very few people who still play it. If you check out the Steam statistics, and a lot of people were mad about the game and how it was, and this is one of the first tweets from them since launch. Which is nice and surprising. And then everyone was like, oh, it must be hacked. It must be hacked. They removed it. It must have been a hack. And then there was like a Polygon article that was written that was like, oh, yeah, it's from Sean Murray. We got an email from him. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's post it in the news. And since then, they were like, it wasn't actually him. It was actually someone posing as him. It was hacked. And then they come back and it's like, it was hacked. And it's just like, thanks for a real No Man's Sky tweet, No Man's Sky Twitter. Why don't you tell us more about your game that isn't finished.
I'm reading some of the replies to the original No Man's Sky was a mistake.
Yeah.
There's one someone put the image of Walter White. You're goddamn right.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh.
Here's the thing. We're talking about this game again. Was it really hacked? Was it actually not actually hacked, and they're just saying it wasn't, so they get one more article? Probably not. But I wouldn't be surprised, because who cares anymore? Us, apparently. But for real, it doesn't need anything else.
Discuss. Was it a mistake? Don't discuss it. I'm kidding.
Okay, I was about to, I was reaching for the scotch.
Yeah.
Tonight's Drunken Ramblings, by the way, brought to you by Glenlivet 12 Year.
Next up
is Clustertruck. They have a Halloween update. Free levels, Halloween themed, 10 new levels.
By the way,
it's free.
Clustertruck is a game that kind of got accidentally circumvented by our list of games just due to events and bad schedules and stuff like that. Clustertruck is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Incredibly rage-inducing, but I love it. And when you actually beat the levels, you feel like a badass. Highly suggest going after Clustertruck.
And it's one half of that bet that Josh lost.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
I don't know if I don't think that...
It's a playable game. You lost the bet.
No, I know Clustertruck is, but the Super Hot... The Super
No,
Hot
they
mode
did.
was added afterwards.
That wasn't the argument.
Yes, it was. It was the Super Hot thing that we were arguing, not Clustertruck in itself.
You said that it was just a spoof thing and it wasn't real.
Yeah, because it was the April Fool's. It was the April Fool's thing where the guys who made Clustertruck and the guys who made Super Hot collaborated.
Yeah,
and they made Super Truck, and I
it
have
was supposed to be
I have the archive file right here. I can pull it up and install it and start playing.
Super Truck is it's in the game mode now, but it wasn't originally. Is what I'm saying.
Yes, it was.
It was not.
January 22nd of 2016. Supertruck.exe. I'm looking at it right here.
Yeah, that's Super Truck.
Anyway,
not Clustertruck.
Right, but it was the mix of Super Hot and Clustertruck.
Yes.
Right, they did it then. Josh lost that bet. Clustertruck is half of it. Anyways, Halloween, 10 new levels, Halloween-themed world.
# bullshit on Twitter if you agree with me. At IGR Podcast. So
and it should be live here shortly. Yeah.
I haven't actually gotten a chance to play the Halloween levels. I've been.
It should be there.
I don't know.
I'll check it while you guys talk about the next.
Yeah.
One.
But anyway, next up, yeah.
Next up, we have a really cool game. You remember us talking about it a while back called Hello
excited.
Neighbor? Ridiculously excited for this one. It's the one where you're sneaking into your neighbor's house to find out what the fuck's going on, and they have now released Alpha Phase 1. You can buy it on their website.
With the thing is, by the way, just as a forewarning to anyone who wants to try the game, if they're able to, is that the game being an alpha should already be obvious to you, but there are a lot of bugs. A lot of the gameplay.
It can also only run on 64-bit Windows.
Yeah.
And you need at least 8 gigs of RAM and an i5 and a GT.
In the pre-alpha gameplay, first of all, it was only the first floor that you could go around because your objective was to open up the basement door. And once you open up the basement door, there wasn't actually a basement. It was like a fucking Harry Potter hole in the wall because they didn't put it in the basement yet. But there was some bugs where because the AI is supposed to learn and kind of every time you get caught, it's supposed to learn your pattern, so you have to figure out no way to get in the house, that sort of stuff. But he would there were a couple things where it would if you get caught a certain way, it would automatically act like it saw you even though you were in your house. Another one where it would every single time, no matter what, it would break its own window and just go in that way instead of the front door.
That's right. Yeah, no, there were some really fun bugs, but they're in Alpha Build 1 now. It's DRM free. It is kind of expensive,
But that is
it
the
is
full game.
pre-built. Right, it's early access. It's $29.99. It currently has they've added a second story. It's a large 2-story home now filled with the puzzles and gameplay. Also, there's a pet shark.
Yeah.
You can now get into the basement. It's not just a hobbit hole. And it's a feature in the alpha build, but it is going to crash on you and it will glitch out.
Yeah, there's one glitch that I've seen where basically the guy will just get stuck. For instance, there's an elevator that you can take to the second floor if you want to, but he'll take it up there and he'll just get stuck midway, and then you're just free to roam the house. But it's interesting to me because they opened up the second floor and a little bit of the basement. First of all, the house is going to be huge, and the house constantly changes every time they make updates. Like the first time, it was a little bit smaller. This time around, it's a lot bigger, and there's actually a freaking mine cart that runs through the house, and it kind of goes outside occasionally and stuff like that. But it's only the second floor in the basement and the first floor. There's a bunch of more floors to discover. And the other thing I didn't realize was I thought this was strictly going to be a strategic, like, hide and seek type of thing, like try and get to the goal and that'd be the end of it. And there's a bunch of puzzles that they added into it in order to progress through the different parts of the house and get to the things that you need to get to where you want to go, which is really cool too. So it adds an extra layer of depth to this game. The shark, for instance, being one of them, that was kind of cool. So I'm really excited, something to keep an eye on. And if you can play the game, because I don't know if they're just releasing this stuff to everyone, but they are releasing it to like press for like preview builds and stuff like that. So next up,
we have some news on everybody's favorite game purchasing platform, Desura.
What was the last game that you purchased on Desura?
I've never purchased a game on Desura.
Rev?
I got a code. I got a code for a few things on Desura. Like first year we did this. There was a game that
Neon Access, I think it was.
I don't know. No. It was a different one. I think I played that one too. There was another one way before that was kind of rough.
No, there was some stuff that we got from Indie 3. I think that was on Desura.
Yeah. It was Indie 3. I think it was Indie 3. Which is funny because that was the first. Oh yeah, Indie 3, not Indiecade. Sorry, they're all the same. In my head at this point. So Desura, we talked about them recently because they went bankrupt and didn't pay anybody. That's not fun.
Who were we talking to that said they played a prank saying that they bought Desura and everyone believed them? Like a bunch of like press picked it up.
Oh. I think that was either.
I think it was Indie Game Stand.
It was Indie Game Stand. It was, yeah. Yeah. So they have actually been purchased now by OnePlay, who I hadn't heard of actually until this point.
I've heard of the subsidiaries. Like I've heard of Indie Royale. But yeah, as far as the company itself goes, how many times has Desura been bought and sold?
So they were purchased. I feel like they were purchased right before we started the show, or like midway through, like the first year.
Yeah.
But like that was like the second or third time.
They were around before Indie Game Riot because they were around before.
They were.
Before I moved to Hawaii.
I think they had two owners, or maybe this is the third owner. I don't know if it's the third or the fourth. It's a lot.
Because Project Zomboid, I originally, when I purchased it, they were only selling on Desura, and that's the first game I ever had on Desura. And that was like 2012. So they've been around for longer, but it's a little ridiculous. Like I don't understand what people are seeing in this company, to be honest. And why it's continually being bought. Like it should just go away. I feel like.
Well, they're currently. I guess OnePlay is now doing like more AAA stuff. Like if you go look at their site, like it's
basically just Green Man Gaming. They're basically just Green Man Gaming.
But we already have Green Man Gaming.
Like they're selling Battlefield and all of that fun stuff. Titanfall.
Overwatch.
Literally all I see on their front page is Battlefield.
Mortal
Oh yeah, no,
Kombat
those are the latest
X.
sales, and that actually freaked me out too. This is a really like the site looks pretty clean, but that part is like no,
Yeah,
don't do that.
It's kind of dumb.
I looked at the latest sales. Oh, cool, there's sales, and I'm looking at these and I'm like, wow, all of these same sales. Oh, purchased by Ahmed. Purchased by Ali. Purchased by Kenneth, right? And I'm like,
That's weird.
or not purchased by, but it's like name.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at them just like, is this a key reseller? And I started freaking out. I was like, did Desura get bought by a key reseller? No, they're just sales. They're just things that were sold recently.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not
I don't like that at all.
I mean, you can change to like new releases and stuff like that, and
Yeah, exactly. That's nice, but it should be new releases should be first.
yeah, that's kind of weird.
Get rid of that altogether.
Oh well, no one's gonna buy anything
Anyway.
from Desura anyway.
Yeah, basically, if Desura is still alive and kicking, it's on life support. Really, like it was dead. So you know what Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You're out in space. You can survive for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Desura was in space for 29 seconds, and then like the lowest bidder one play was just like, oh, okay, time to save you, and then they were saved, and now they're still kind of mostly dead, but I guess we'll see.
They're just like twitching on the floor
exactly.
of the space station. Well, speaking of twitching, there's some creepy gameplay in Savior, which is, according to this article from Gamasutra, Cuba's first ever indie game, which is currently on Indiegogo. Not the first Cuba indie game on Indiegogo, but the first indie game from Cuba. Rev seems to think that he has met people from Cuba who have made indie games. I don't know. But either way, this game looks really cool. It's from Empty Head Games. We're not actually doing a full feature on them, although we should, I think.
Yeah.
But it's just... I wanted to put it in the news because it's cool to see a new challenger in the arena, if that makes sense. And the game is pretty cool. Depends on how many... let me look at the Indiegogo real quick. You can
They're asking for $10,000.
How many days are a month left, and they're like less than 500 away from their goal.
Yeah.
Now,
And this game is so awesome.
it looks really cool and creepy as shit. The art is very The Last Unicorny.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see that.
A little bit.
I think mostly like the animation style is very Last Unicorny.
Yeah. For some
Like the
reason, it's
flowiness
very.
of everything.
For some reason, though, some of the character design and the way the movements are it's really disturbing and creepy to me.
I didn't think that at all, which is weird because usually I'm the one to just be like, "That's a weird game, don't like it." This one, I love this one. Like it's just fluid enough. And let me tell you too, this probably has one of the best trailers for a crowdfunding game that it could be, because it starts out immediately. It's just gameplay footage. Okay, now tell me about who you are, right?
Yeah.
But it was just quick and clean, and the moments that they chose were really, 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 really smart. And this is
Character
looks
design's a little bit Pan's Labyrinth too, like some of the
Yeah,
monsters.
very much so.
Yeah.
The one thing that I do have a minor quibble with, but I'm willing to give them benefit at this point because it is also an independent game, and we do know that games cost money. With the $10,000 that they're asking for, they're aiming to launch a playable demo of the first chapter in February of 2017, and then spend the next year, building out each chapter after that. Like that's a little bit disconcerting, but
but you also have to consider though that for that amount of money, like that isn't a huge...
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's slightly disconcerting, but I'm.
But you can also get the game for $10. So it's $10 for an episode. That I think that if they make it good, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
That for that price, it's acceptable, because then if they have 3 episodes, right, and they're both like 5 or maybe like 6 or 7 hours, 20.
Well, this is just for the demo that is the first full chapter, and then they said, like if you read
it's just a demo.
Yeah, with this first $10,000,
Oh,
we'll be
a
able
playable
to launch
demo
a
of the game's
playable
opening
demo in February of
Okay.
2017,
So,
encompassing the chapter.
Which means they must be looking for support and then going to go the investor route where it's like, hey, look, we got this support. We are out of a community. Hey, look, we have this demo that's really cool. Why don't you fund us? But
that adds a
weird.
little bit more risk if that's the case, because then there's no guarantee that someone's going to pick them up. Although they should, because it's cool.
But I mean, like, they have a month left and they've already made basically $10,000.
Yeah.
So they might end up making a bunch of money and are like, yeah, we could probably make the whole game.
We'll
Or like the first episode, maybe. I don't know.
We'll see how we feel about it. Maybe next week or something like that. And
yeah, definitely.
maybe we'll do a peep show on it or something. Go into a little bit more detail, but for now, check out the Indiegogo if you feel like helping out. Feel free. They're almost there. Let's see. I think now it's just moving on to the discussion point. Yeah. So, discussion point for today, in lieu of the interview, because unfortunately Mark did not wake up. Understandable, though, honestly. Is indie horror versus AAA horror.
Yeah.
So, to start off the discussion, I would say, I mean, besides the obvious, like the production value and stuff like that in most games, although it seems like horror out of any others seem to bridge the gap a bit more between AAA and indie.
Because there are a lot of like cheap horror games, and then there are a lot of like really surprisingly high.
So like for instance, frictional games with Amnesia and Penumbra and the one that came out recently. Shit.
Yeah.
Damn it! Why can't I think of it? Soma. Thank you. And also like Outlast. And Outlast 2 is
Outlast. Hector was good.
Yeah.
It was like at that level too.
So as far as like graphics and development goes, stuff like that, more polish.
Yeah.
But it seems like if you think of some of the more popular or not necessarily popular, but bigger name horror games that have come out recently. So let's say in the AAA scene, let's say
Doom.
I don't know if Doom. I mean, I guess Doom is kind of horror, but I don't consider it.
It's horror themed.
It's like
it's
action.
Not really a horror game.
It's like action. So like Dead Space.
That's the first thing that came to mind.
So Dead Space, although that's kind of old at this point.
Alien Isolation.
There was this fucking Evil Within. There was another one. No, that came out around the same time as Alien Isolation, didn't it?
You know what's kind of weird is that we talk about a lot of horror games, right? And we're like, yeah, there are tons of horror games, tons of indie horror games, which means there's also tons of AAA horror games, right? There aren't.
The one with Hayden Panettiere or whatever the fuck her name is, Until Dawn, which actually was an interesting one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So those are AAA ones.
Another game that The Evil Within.
I said that.
Yep. Oh, you did? Oh, I totally didn't hear it. I was looking for other games.
So I mean, let's compare that to some of the more popular horror games. First of all, I mean, Outlast, obviously. Like, let's think of the popular. Yeah. There's Outlast, Amnesia, and whole frictional games thing. There's a
whole series that we're overlooking currently.
Five Nights at Freddy.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
And
all those Slender games.
Slender, yeah. But I'm talking about like the really I know Slender was popular, but like the really fleshed out ones, right?
Yeah, the really fleshed out ones.
So like, what are the differences you see between there and what? Like, why don't they translate, to each other?
You know why? It's because AAA games, horror games, they have to add a certain level of value to that kind of player. In their head, like think of the studio. They're like, we could make Amnesia, but on the surface, Amnesia is a very basic game when it comes to what's happening. It doesn't feed you a whole lot of story. There's not a whole lot of there's engagement in the sense that there are things that you're learning and it's scary. But I feel like that a lot of horror-y games or games that encompass a lot of horror in the AAA scene focus a lot more on trying to like tell a scary story, and whether they succeed in that or not is dependent on the game. But I feel like the way the story is told is different.
To me.
Well,
okay. I saw you had like the fucking Ash from the Evil Dead hand going on. It was like
yeah, I was hunted for this. Okay, so here's why I don't think that you can get as good of a horror game in the AAA scene. Horror is not something that you can really subject yourself to incessantly. Like, you have to be able to have a rise and fall in emotion, right? And horror doesn't really lend itself to long, drawn-out things. Like, think
like full franchises.
Yeah, well, I mean, even
Long,
basically.
To counter that,
you're not going to play a 10-hour horror game.
Well, to counter that real quick, because I wanted to bring these games up anyway, was we mentioned Dead Space, albeit that did throughout the franchise devolve into an action-oriented game, but Dead Space is still very good.
Game. It was a suspense game with jump scares because they were having to tell a story.
Then Resident Evil, up until like 5 and 6, and now Resident Evil 7 seems like it's getting back on track. Resident Evil is probably the most successful AAA horror.
That's true. And then you also have
it's a horror game.
You don't think Resident Evil is a horror game?
Series.
No,
That scared the absolute shit out of me when it came out.
Have you played the first 3, Rev?
Yeah.
It scared
They're
bejesus
essentially horror movies. Like that was the whole thinking behind the camera angles in 1. It was like, what would be a
the controls were also built into that. You know how they were like wonky and tanked? It was on purpose.
It was.
They did that on purpose because if they made them tank, so that way when you panicked, you were like, oh shit. You'd spin around and it would make you panic.
I still think that's dumb, but I mean it's old. So
to get back to my point.
Okay.
My point is that in the indie sphere, you can have what I heard this at the one talk that I was at Indiecade. You can have micro games where they are just a 20-30 minute experience, and they can bring that about. Five Nights at Freddy's is a great example. I mean, each round lasts maybe 10 minutes, and it's that sort of fast-paced, frenetic emotion to it that you can have that independent scene where, sure, there might be creepy stuff going on, but how do I frame?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Condensing it down into that momentary experience really brings across the horror of it in a way that you can't do when you stretch that out over an 8-hour game.
But I feel like,
what about Outlast and Amnesia? I mean, they were
or even on the AAA scene too. Just to compare, Outlast, Amnesia, and also Alien Isolation, which is heralded as a great use of.
See, and I haven't played Amnesia.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Highly suggest at least the first one.
Okay. But Alien Isolation wasn't a horror game. It was a suspenseful hide and go seek.
It was a stress management game.
Yeah, exactly. Stress management. But even then, like they had to pace that out, and the horror aspect to it, the suspense build and all of that, was not an incessant thing. You had literally vacations in the game.
Yeah.
From the events that would cause you that stress. And I think that when you look at it as an overarching aspect to it, having it condensed down into a smaller, more manageable thing not only allows you to refine the horror better, but also paces it better.
So you're saying the longer games have like moments of horror and not like a full blown.
But they're not true horror experiences in my book because
isn't horror subjective?
No, well, yes, but but culturally, not necessarily at an individual level. For example, and I'm going to segue slightly into one of my other favorite topics, horror movies. the American culture, the American cinematic culture, when it comes to horror movies, has a very specific rhythm to it. It has a very specific, methodology and formula to a horror movie. There are some that break that, don't get me wrong, and those are usually really good at it. But you can tell just by watching the movie. Oh well, the sound went silent, and now they're doing a slow buildup of the soundtrack, and we're going to have a scary moment here, whatever that may be. It's formulaic almost at this point. And then you compare that to, say, Japanese horror, and their cultural rhythm is different from ours. And so you can, what we would, they'll put in the cues, and we go, oh, something's going to happen, and then it doesn't happen, and we relax ourselves slightly because, that buildup of stress, that, oh, God, what's going to happen? And it doesn't happen, and so we're like, oh, I guess I misread it. And so you relax, then bam, something happens. With a micro game or a micro experience, you can control that at a much tighter level. The whole 20-30 minute game. You see what I'm saying?
So, but then, like I said, you haven't played Amnesia, and I don't think you've played Outlast. Those,
or Hector.
I wouldn't call those. Form. I see what you're saying with like Alien Isolation, because you're right. There are huge breaks in between the tension. But with Amnesia and Outlast, the tension's really there the whole time, and those are fairly long games in comparison to like Five Nights at Freddy's or something.
So okay, remove the horror moments, the tension moments, from those games, and I literally I don't know anything about them. I'm
right. You're walking around and you're doing puzzles.
Okay, so it's a puzzle. Unlike the
Outlast has no puzzles.
Okay, but is it an adventure game, an action game? Do you get a gun? Like you
it's
see what
first
I'm saying?
Literally all you do is hold a camera and make your way through. It's closer to a haunted house with some really fucked up shit. The biggest mechanic gameplay wise is probably other than looking through your night vision on the camera is really running away.
Okay, so there are exceptions to my stance. I'll get that, or I'm wrong. But the way that I see it, I don't see a lot of AAA games because they have to turn profit. They have to make back more money than is spent marketing it and making it. So they're going to have to add things to it, whether that be a definitive story, whether that be as action event, Resident Evil 4 or 5, whatever. They're going to have to add things to bring the appeal to a wider audience than just I'm going to scare the shit out of you for 15 minutes.
So here's a couple things to piggyback on that a little bit with like the profits. I think the biggest difference is generally that AAA feels the need to appeal to a broader audience than an indie game does. So therefore, that's why a lot of the horror games turn actiony after a while, because with less tension and more just like run and gun, even with just scary monsters and occasional jump scares, people are more willing to put themselves through that. Mm-hmm. Whereas indie games don't give a shit about that. They just want to make a good horror game.
Exactly, and ultimately, like you know me and my lack of ability to handle scary games, but like we mentioned it in passing, the Dead Space game. It was free on Xbox Gold not too long ago, and I played through the entire first game in 2 sittings, interrupted only by work and sleep, and had no problems with it whatsoever. Like there were moments that were legitimately like oh crap!
I have a Let's Play on my YouTube channel where I had my wife play it. It's easily other than the first episode of Indie Game Riot, is my second most popular, most viewed video. She screams at the top of her lungs just because the lights go out.
Like I said, there were moments of it, but like for me and my lack of for the horror genre in general. If I can play through your horror game in just a couple of sittings and I see it more as an action adventure game, than a horror game, you've missed the mark dramatically.
So here's something to put out there now, just as far as how they're affecting each other.
Okay.
And it used to be that AAA seemed like it was affecting indie games, but indie games would take their own path, like they would borrow things from it. Now it's the other way around, it seems like, because I mentioned Resident Evil 7 finally picking up after the shitty 5 and 6 parts of it. Resident Evil 7 is taking the PT, although I guess technically that's AAA PT. Silent Hill. I cannot believe Silent Hill is a game. I'm still not over that. But you know, like that whole, they're seeing that style that indie games have taken to fruition in their own way, and seeing how popular it's become, with a little bit of that and some of the like the found footage thing with Outlast and all that sort of stuff. And if you haven't seen gameplay of Resident Evil 7, like they have a demo out, it's the found footage thing from Outlast mixed with a little bit of PT photorealism, and puzzles and things like that. So it's a huge cry, at least from what we've seen so far from any of the other Resident Evils. So it's interesting to see that AAA seems like it's starting to borrow back from indies now, who have taken their own paths out into the horror world. And if other horror indie games too that we didn't mention, Among the Sleep, was another good one. Things like ones we're talking about tonight, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. There are a bunch of different cool ways that you can do it. I think that this is one of those things where the horror genre, sort of like the horror movie genre in movies and games, it's going to get a lot of people to make them, because you can make a horror movie on an extremely low budget and put it somewhere like Netflix or somewhere else, and somebody will buy it.
Speaking of horror movies,
it's just the way it is.
Who's ready for FNAF horror movie?
Oh yeah,
I think it's Warner Brothers is doing it, or someone. I think it's them.
Apparently, Ouija 2 came out just recently, and my friend said it's absolutely ridiculously terrifying. So
yeah, I've heard surprisingly.
I heard it's better than the first one, but I don't do.
You know what else?
I don't do possession movies. They're freaking me out.
You know what else is better than the first one? Starting the Riot.
Yeah.
That made sense. This week on Starting the Riot, we are going with our first horror game of the day. At least, featured horror game of the day. This one I have actually kept my eye on for a little while, and I forgot about it, and then I saw it came out recently. I was like, oh shit, this looks awesome, and it is pretty cool. It is called hopefully I can pronounce it, Yomawari Night Alone. Yomawari Night Alone, if I can get the gameplay footage running, is created by Nippon Ichi. Is that how you pronounce it?
Sure.
You play a little girl who is walking her dog, but as she's walking, I mean, it's right on the website, so I guess this isn't spoiler. But she's walking the dog, and something happens to the dog. She goes home, and the dog runs off. She goes home and looks for the dog, and it's like in the middle of the night in this town, and basically the whole thing is like the town changes at night, and there's like these weird, crazy nightmares in the dark, according to the website.
And not only that, but you will be followed by Mr. Yomawari, which is the game's namesake.
That's why they call it that. Oh,
you know, this game is only in that way is also similar to another game that we're talking about later. But whatever.
Okay.
What?
That mechanic is similar to the free fun game a little bit, just a bit. Not quite. It's style.
All right. Well, speaking of style, at first glance I was like, oh, this is like a RPG maker, but it's not.
It's not.
Or if it is, it's very heavily changed. I actually like the art style. Not particularly the girl.
Yeah.
But the environment and the monsters in this game are really interesting to me. There's something about the monsters that you're seeing on the gameplay now. There's blood streak, so it didn't run away. It got hit, but she goes out looking for it. So I don't really know for sure, to be honest. But anyway, the monsters in this game, it's kind of the same thing with that Cuban game that we talked about. There's something disturbing about them to me.
Just slightly off-putting.
Yeah, you know how it's like, it's kind of in a way that, like, say you, like, they do it in movies a lot. Like, you're looking at a person, they like twitch real quick, but then it goes back to normal.
Yeah,
it's that kind of uneasiness. You're like, wait, what? What just happened?
It's playing with your brain to make things.
I don't like that. Yeah, that sort of thing. And it has the feeling of a lot of those really good, which is maybe why I compare it to the RPG Maker games, because it has a feeling of a lot of those really good RPG Maker horror type things. Like, what is it?
Oh, saw that face changing thing.
Now I can't think of any of those horror games.
Like a Witch's House.
Yeah,
or...
Witch's House is one I was thinking of. There's another one called like Your Mama or something like that. I don't know. There's another one that's not a RPG Maker, but it was like it came out on PS Vita, I think. Shit, I can't think of anything right now.
Yeah.
Fuck. Anyway. It is crap. I got to bring up Steam.
It is $19.99.
Thank you.
You could also buy it and the soundtrack and the digital art book for $19.98.
Corpse Party is what I was thinking of.
Corpse Party. I know about that game. So buy the bundle. You can get the soundtrack and the digital art book for free because it's 13% off. Who did that?
So here's another thing too with like an environment in this game. Now I'm watching it unfold again. Is that the lighting is really intriguing in this game?
Yep.
It's weird because I feel like when you look at it, it looks like it shouldn't be that polished looking, and then there's like these subtle details. You're like, wow, this actually has a lot of work into it. I don't know if that explains it well enough, like how I feel about it. Like it's like I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's not that great, but then there's just these details that come up.
Yep.
That just surprise me.
Yeah.
And there's your first view of a monster.
It's really weird because like on the surface it looks kind of
cute.
Yeah, cute and also kind of simple, and like the art is very unassuming.
Yeah.
But then everything starts to move.
Yeah. And
you really get a sense for
it's a good way of putting
the feeling that it's actually giving, because the animation, the art would not look as good if the animation looked cheaper, and the animation looks just crisp enough, and
the lighting is what does it for me, though.
Yeah, the lighting as that too, definitely.
Okay, shut up, Rev. I don't want to fucking hear it.
What? Sorry, I didn't say anything.
All right, good. Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, nothing.
Anyway.
Oh, hey, an advertisement. There it is.
Man.
So anyway, what I was gonna say is, have you ever been out of your house in the middle of the night, like, and gotten that kind of feeling where, like,
yes,
like it's just not what you? What is that? I want it.
This?
Why are you distracting me with cold goodness?
My roommate brought me it's rose infused ice cream.
What the fuck?
Oh wow, what an interesting indie game, guys.
Hipster.
Sorry.
Anyway, my throat is really dry and hurts right now, and it just looks like it would hit the spot. I thought it was Italian ice. Anyway, you've ever gone out into your town in the middle of the night, and it's just felt weird? Like really weird to you?
You know what's really strange is I used to feel that way when I lived in the city or dense suburbs. Now that I live out here, I feel safe as fuck. It's like, oh yeah, that's a fox. Oh yeah, that's a deer or something. Oh, that's somebody's dog. Yeah, I know. Like it's so much scarier in the city. I don't know why.
Is it? Well, I don't know. I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like the less around, the more weird. I mean, in this case, it looks like it's a pretty populated area, but and a lot of horror games, like remember Cry of Fear, same kind of thing as in the city.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel weirder when there's less around. Like, I can go walking in the middle of the night, and the scariest thing would be a fucking hoodlum, mugging me, as opposed to, like, something creeping around, following me, that, type of thing. So, I don't know.
I don't know, man. As this game shows,
maybe certain people are predisposed to other certain...
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you know what we should also be predisposed to?
Telling people about the game?
We already did.
Oh.
We should predispose... You started
launching into the price again, so I was
like... I know, I was saying it, I was just reiterating. Buy the bundle, it's cheaper.
By 1 cent.
You know what else is cheaper? The Indie Game Riot Peep Show.
Yeah.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
And this week on Peep Show, we have a creepy fucking doll based on a true story.
It's not just a doll.
It's not. So a little bit about it. It's called Witchkin. And it is freaky as fuck, and there's not a whole lot else to say. No, just kidding. So 1920s, there was a woman that,
she was known as the Candy Lady.
Yeah, the Candy Lady. In 1895. Lost her daughter, and then she believes that her husband was the cause for it, so she poisons his candy and then gets sent to an asylum.
Oh shit! They're getting chased in the gameplay, and I just thought like my butthole tightened so fast.
Right? And so you're playing a character who's like kids in this area, they get a note and some candy that gets left on their windowsill or at the foot of their bed, and then they go to this mansion, this house, and never come back. And then your little sister ends up going there, and you come here to try and find out what's going on. There's 4 levels to the house. Each level has its own creepy as fuck magical doll of some sort.
I think it's I thought they said there were 7. Where did I read 7? Maybe that's 1, 2, 3.
Or maybe there will be.
Oh no, you're right. It is 4. It is 4.
Yeah,
it's on Kickstarter.
It's 4. So you have Marcy the doll, and it's creepy as hell. And then you have Trappy Bear, and then you have Hooks the Clown.
Hooks the Clown creeps me out more than anyone, and it's not because it's a clown. It's just the way the model is.
Yeah.
I don't like long spindly things. That freaks me out.
See, Marcy the doll actually bothers me more.
Yeah.
But only
that
because it
hand?
looks... Yeah, well, that hand and the fact that the face looks like
real.
It is non-flexible, but it's going to, like, scream at you. And, like, oh my god, it's creepy as hell.
Not only that, but the realism on the face, like it doesn't necessarily look just like a doll. Like it looks like a person.
Oh shit! Yep, that's the doll. Fuck. Yeah. So yeah.
Jesus.
God. Yeah. Yep, that's the one that made me scream. That's the part that made me scream. And looks terrifying. It's hide and seek. Now, one of the things that I appreciate with this game is that it's goreless. It's non-violence. There's no gore and blood or anything like that. They're aiming it as a family-friendly, at least for.
I'm not sure how that works.
Well, it was designed.
As in, you could probably play it around your kids, and they'd be like, "That's
I'm
scary."
pretty sure my kids would have nightmares.
Well, I'm not like with them, just around them. Like they're not gonna come in and be like, "Oh my god, titties," Like,
yeah.
No, they'd be like, "Oh my god, my toys are gonna kill me."
I'm okay with them thinking that. But yeah, no, this looks like a really well done game, and it's been a labor of love for the developers. They are asking, what is it, $12,000?
Yes.
They're 5 days to go as of this recording, so not a whole lot of time. They're currently only at 3,000, so they're about a quarter of the way there.
Let's give them a push, Rioters.
Really, really hope that they make it. As much as I hate horror games, I really like this. It's also being developed for Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
Good
luck.
Right. So yeah, no, go check them out. It's a very small team. It is literally 4 people. It's a man, his wife, and their kids.
I like the filter that they put over it too, just to kind of suck you into the time more in the setting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh god, that I just came across the image of that clown. I do not.
Also,
like
the video, the Kickstarter video is top notch. They need $12,000. They've raised $3,000, and there's 5 days to go.
They have a max pledge of $500, and they have 4 out of the 5 slots of that left because it's limited. But with that, you get the game demo, which is available in December, so you get early access to it. You get a cool wallpaper. You get the digital copy of Witchkin. You get an invitation to the beta test. You get the soundtrack, the digital art book. You get a face. Your face is going to be one of the portraits in the game, and you get the Witchkin family album, and that's going to include your portrait as well.
$500. Bare minimum to get a copy of the digital copy of the game is $15 or more, and
you also yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, and you also get access to the demo when it releases, but it's a demo. I mean, everybody does.
Yeah.
I was treating it like a pre-alpha or something. No, you get a beta access with $45.
Yeah, 45. But anyway,
yeah.
I hope if it doesn't make it, if you Rioters can't push it over the next few days, I hope.
Oh God, I hope it gets funded. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Good job covering games, but you know what else is cool?
Free stuff.
Free stuff. It's time for free fun.
This week on Free Fun, we have to start it off. I'm happy that we're starting it off this way, personally.
Right.
With a disclaimer that our one and only Josh is a voice in this game. It's a free game.
Small voice.
So we're not we're not getting any kickbacks. I mean, obviously Josh is in it. Congratulations, Josh. You did a great job.
I'm the best and famous.
Yes.
Suck my dick.
Markiplier in his gameplay of this video called you a nice guy.
Yeah.
That game is SPIME. SPIME. You can download it right now for free on Game Jolt. And it's I want to talk about this game a lot, but I can't because it's a little short. And if I talk too much about it'll spoil a lot. Let's just say that you play an individual in a diner, and things happen in the diner that cause you to.
I think it's okay to say that basically you're going from plane to plane of existence through space and time, which is SPIME.
Yeah.
Don't give away the beginning and the ending is really what you don't want to give away.
Yeah.
But you're trying to make your way through and figure out what the hell's going on by collecting notes.
Exactly.
And,
collecting notes moving forward, not getting vaporized. And let me tell you something too. This game, even though I didn't know that Josh was in it when I first played it, I just saw the notes like, cool, let's do it. And then we start the show. It's like, yeah, I was in this one. I was just like, I know exactly who you were. But I played it and I was like, this is great. It's absolutely fantastic. The way that the story is told is so good. The timing on it is great. The Suits and Nukes really know what they're doing when they went into this game and they paced it out. Mind
you, actually. That if you have followed Suits and Nukes, you might know this already, but Suits and Nukes, aka or David Mills is his real name, he actually does more gory, just ripping people apart type of games. He always has a unique idea, interesting humor, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but this is actually a little bit experimental for him to have this kind of horror. It's more of a psychological horror where you're like, oh shit, how am I going to get out of this time loop type of thing. and the consequences of it, that sort of stuff. So it's a different take from him specifically, but it seems like everyone's really receiving it well, which is nice. And it's also his biggest game yet because it actually split into 2 parts, or you actually have to remember the old days where you had to insert disc 2.
You have to click on a link and it'll open up part 2 or download part 2. Yeah. And I will say that I was expecting a little bit more from part 2. Personally, I was like, part 2.
I think
what is this?
I think he just split it where it had to be split. I don't think he split it in half.
Oh yeah, no, it's not split in half by any means. Mind you, I do kind of like that pause of part 2 happens and then you're right back in it at the start of part 2.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a size thing. Maybe it's
It is. He couldn't fit everything in. It wasn't on purpose.
Gotcha.
He just couldn't fit everything.
But it works because the time that he has on that, the transition, you have this build up, and then part 2 is the culmination of the climax, and then the ending, and where it sits is pretty good.
He has an interesting art style too in all of his games, and I don't know how much on purpose it is, but it works because the way his art, the character models always look in all of his games, and make them look super creepy, that blank dead stare that everyone has. And I don't know if that's just because he's not the best artist out there, or if he's doing it on purpose. But even the protagonists have that same stare where you're just piercing into your soul type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, SPIME. I was really happy to work with him, and I hope I can work with him again later on.
It's great,
and
it's so great.
It's this game kind of messes with you too, because things always do when you start talking about time travel and space-time continuum.
But you know what? It explains it so well, and it
does do a good job.
Great. There's so much great stuff about
ants
this game. And
traveling on a piece of paper analogy with the fifth dimensional travel.
And the really cool thing is that that's totally a way that they explain that. I've had this exact concept explained to me exactly that way, and it's immediately it just clicked. This is anybody can play this game and anybody can understand this game. There's enough interesting tidbits. Hi Phoenix, how's it going? That you can learn. My cat's here.
By the way, if anyone recognizes this, the little meatballs of terror were apparently inspired by Langoliers.
Yeah.
If you didn't notice that, if you're a cinephile, because not everyone, I think that's more of a cult classic type of thing, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, but it was one of his inspirations for it.
Yeah. So good call if you caught that. It's not a whole lot more we can talk about it because we don't want to spoil the ending. There's a twist at the end and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you have to watch it. You have to play.
If you're curious, my part does come at the end, and feel free to praise me after you're done playing the game and boost my ego.
Yes.
Anything else you want to say about SPIME?
Go play it right now. Download it for free. Link in the description. For real. Seriously. why not? You've made it this far.
And play all of his other games. It's good.
It's what 20 minutes.
It depends on how long you dick around, but I mean, it's 20-ish minutes or so.
It's like do it on your lunch break. It's totally worth it. Play it. It's awesome. Love it.
Well, you know what else is awesome and I love it?
Rose infused ice cream.
That and the end of the show, because that's what's happening. Happy Halloween, motherfuckers!
Yes.
It is the end of the show.
My black cat is here to wish us all happy Halloween.
3 more days.
If you want to help out Indie Game Riot, of course you can go to our Patreon. Terrible vampire accent.
Go to our Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/Indie Game Riot. Give us some money. Well,
helps us out. Sacrifice 1 cup of pretentious coffee
a week, a month.
A month. 1 per month. That's all, and you can help out.
Switch to the instant stuff and give us $10 a month. That's how you should do it.
Go homeless and give us all your money.
Yeah. Screw the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
10%. 75.
We're your Catholic Church now.
We're running a website here, folks. We need all the help we can get.
Oh God. All right. Well, other ways that you can help is, of course, by contact me, so you can do so by going to the live stream every Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and chatting with us right in the chat stream. And you can also go on Twitter at IGR Podcast or Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. And you can, of course, email contact@indiegameriot.com. All this and more is on indiegameriot.com. Any last words?
Nope. I think I'm good.
No. Yeah.
Have fun trick-or-treating.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Other horror tropes. I don't know what else to say.
The abrupt ending.
Good.
Okay, quick.
The end, or is it?
Indie remarks. Favorite horror movie? Go.
Shit.
13 Ghosts.
Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, you took mine. I was gonna say The Cabin in the Woods.
It's okay. Cabin in the Woods is good.
I have a lot of good favorite horror games, but that was the one I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Favorite horror game?
Shit. I don't know. I don't really play horror games.
Never-ending Night.
Contagion.
That
Contagion.
bullshit.
Contagion is scary.
Ugh.
Truly.
Never-ending Nightmare.
Never-ending Nightmare is a good one. Ooh, we didn't bring that one up, did we? Shit.
We did. We mentioned it.
Not during the discussion.
We didn't? I thought we did.
No.
Oh.
We mentioned Hector.
Oh, weird.
That was you. Weird.
It was. I remember talking about. No, it's weird that we didn't talk about Never-Ending Nightmare.
Pedro says his favorite is The Ring, the Japanese version.
Ah, cool.
That's a fantastic one.
I didn't think that shit was scary at all. The Ring. Everyone was terrified of it. And I was
It's a
like,
cultural
"This is
thing.
bullshit."
The American one was not as creepy.
Like those Korean and Japanese horror films are very samey to me, and they're just weird. Like
Did you watch The Grudge?
Yes, and it was
Did
less
you watch
scary than The Ring.
The Japanese version of The Grudge?
No.
Okay, go watch it. That's actually, having seen both, and having seen both on mushrooms, the Japanese version, exponentially more terrifying.
The weirdest thing about any of those movies is the hair fetish that they have. Like hair coming out of the mouth and like that sort of stuff, or coming out of the water pipe or something. You know, that stuff's creepy to me, but like other than that, meh. Anyway. Say your goodbyes the creepiest way possible.
See you next time, guys. Boo!
Have a good one, folks.
Toodles.
Yum. Please,